Hey crafty people, welcome back to my channel, and in case you're new here, I'm Sarah, also known as Craft Nerd because I'm a nerd who loves to craft. I do paper crafting, card making, junk journaling, and mixed media art. Let's get crafting! So today we're going to be working on a stained glass window journal cover. And sorry about the glare, I've got a piece of transparency film. For this, you're going to just need a piece of clear plastic to create your faux stained glass window. And I drew this bee because I'm going to do it for my bee journal. And this will be up on my Ko-fi site. Links in the description box down below. I'll run it across the screen. Or otherwise you can just go to ko-fi.com and search for Craft Nerd Creates to find it, and it's free. If you've never gotten a freebie off of Ko-fi before, it will have a spot where you can put a dollar amount, just put 0 in, and then you check out and you can download it. You of course could leave me a tip if you want to, but that is not necessary. It is completely free for you to download. Just bear in mind that if you are considering like giving me a tip on Ko-fi, if you tip less than $1, I'm not going to actually get anything between the Ko-fi fees and the PayPal fees. So just keep that in mind. It's true for pretty much all crafters who might have freebies on Ko-fi. If you want to give them some money, you should do at least $1 because otherwise it all goes to fees. So I'm just kind of taping this down on the transparency on top of my pattern that I want to do for creating my stained glass opening in my journal cover. And I am gonna grab a ruler because otherwise my straight lines are not going to be anywhere near straight, and I'd like to have a little bit of precision here, so I'm going to use a ruler and a Sharpie to draw my pattern on my piece of paper. Sure, did I actually draw anything on there? I got one line. I'm like, not sure how well my Sharpie was working there. All right, let's try this again. All right, so there is the bee. I think my Sharpie is dying. I think I'm gonna go back in and darken my outer lines a little bit. All right, that's a bit better. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna pull out my Copic markers, and I'm flipping it over because if I try coloring on this side, the alcohol in the marker is gonna push around the Sharpie and we're gonna end up with a muddy mess because it will shift. Just thickening up these lines, because alcohol ink shifts itself around, like pushes it, especially on such a non-porous surface as the acetate. Just gonna do that. So I'm going to do all my coloring on the flip side of it so that I don't have to worry about it pushing the black around and making a mess. All right, so we're going to color our bee body, and I think I'm going to just go with Y8. And color him in. Let's see. Flip it over. That's what it looks like. Flip it over this way. That's what it looks like. I'm gonna grab some Y11 for the wings. Not showing up a ton, but it's a little bit more color than just going straight white, which is fine. Need something. I'm gonna use Y17 to color in the legs. And I'm gonna use it to color in. Oh, I missed a. I'm like, that doesn't look right. Why is that such a big space? Because I missed one of the lines that go like that. And then I think I'm going to do a few of the outer stained glass panels with the 17. Start filling in betweens. So grabbed YG6, YR2, BG13, which let me just check. Yep, like that. And then YR13. Which is a little too light, I think. I'm gonna think about that. All right, so this one. Now, short strokes are best for coloring with Copic markers on acetate, because if you go back over it too many times, it ends up pushing the ink around and it gets streaky. I've got antsy pantsy puppy dogs who now want to go out and are gonna wait 2 minutes. All right, so there is our bumblebee all colored in. Now we are gonna work on the cover pieces. So let me get what I need for that. So I remembered I wanted to do one for the back of the journal as well. And so this one I just drew lines instead of putting the B in, and I'm going to use actually alcohol inks instead of my alcohol markers. I am going to grab some Sunshine Yellow. And put that kind of in the middle. And I used my Copic black marker to draw the lines. And I know they're kind of sloppy out the outside, but that's okay because I'm going to cut the opening a little bit smaller for where this is going to go in. And then I'm going to pull in some green. And I've got lettuce. And then let's do some more lettuce for the outer edge. Get that a little bit more green going on. And I think I'm gonna kind of drop a little, ooh, that is really dark. But we can add a little isopropyl alcohol to lighten that up. And just gonna kind of tap. So this is one of those, just play around till you like what your window looks like. And I think I'm gonna take, I've got some isopropyl alcohol in a mini spritzer, I think. I have some in here? No, I do not. I'm gonna put some in here. And I'm just gonna give a little spritz, because that'll get it ooh, that's cool. I like that. All right, so I'm happy with that. Now, I've put isopropyl alcohol in my little spritzer. Alcohol inks, there's also available a blending solution. You do not want to put the blending solution in a spritzer because it contains resin, and if you spritz it and breathe it in, it will stick to everything in your body, your lungs, inside your eyes, all sorts of stuff. So not recommended to put the blending solution in a spritzer, but you can do the isopropyl alcohol because that's just rubbing alcohol, doesn't have any additives in it. So that's going to be our back window. I'm going to set this aside for a minute. I've gone ahead and cut down my pieces, and I am using comic book board for my covers for this one, and I've cut them down to 9x6 because that's the size I work with in journals, generally speaking. Sorry if there's a little bit of glare. You know what, let me flip it because one size usually has a little bit of coating to it and one's matte. I've got my little hexagon that I used for this piece, my initial drawing on that side. And what I'm going to do is I am going to decide where I want it on my piece and just trace it. And then I'm gonna set it aside, set my white piece of paper that I've been using so that you can see what I'm doing aside. And I'm gonna grab a knife and a metal ruler. You don't want to use your acrylic rulers because you'll end up shaving some of the plastic off. And and sorry about the glare because I know it's metal, I am gonna cut inside my lines because I want to make sure it's just a little narrower of a hole than the widest part of my images, just because that will hide any mucky bits along the edge kind of thing. And I'm going to go around and do my first pass all around. Now, if you prefer to use scissors, you could, of course, stab them into the center and cut out. That's okay, because it's better to cut short than to cut too far because you can always cut more off. So I'm just going to get this cut out. And it didn't go all the way through, and I'm okay with that. I am gonna make a second pass. that's through. Okay, now I'm going to take the piece I cut out and kind of rub it along the inside to clean up any messy bits we've got. And I think over here I need to slipper a little more off just to clean this up. All right, so what we're gonna end up doing, and I will probably end up trimming this piece down. Oh no. So one, I cut it too big, and two, I cut it at the wrong angle. Is this the right angle? It's the right angle for the back piece. All right, so this one's for the back. And so we're gonna, so that is gonna go like so. And I'm going to sandwich it between another piece that I'm gonna cut out the hexagon from. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And I'm gonna cut a hexagon from my other two pieces. So I've got 4 pieces of comic book board, 2 for each side so that we can sandwich our stained glass window between. So I'm gonna go ahead off camera and get the rest cut out now that you've seen how to do it. So I'm just gonna go like so and cut this piece out and do it again for the front 2 pieces. And once I'm done doing that, I will come back and we will do the assembly part. All right, so I've got everybody all cut out. I've also got some papers that I'm going to use to cover these, and this is they're printables. This one's by Giggle Glitter GFX, and then these 3 are by my Porch Prints. So I'm going to start with this one, and because I want clean edges, I am gonna kind of glue it down, leaving a little bit so that I can fold it up and over. And I'm gonna use my art glitter glue, and I'm just gonna make sure I've got this going the right way, because that'll go in like so, and this one goes on top like, nope, it goes like that. So this is front. Let's mark what we're doing here. Front, outside, front, inside. So that we make sure we've got the right way round going down. So I'm gonna grab art glitter glue. I'm gonna glue it down. Leaving space to wrap. I'm just gonna smush that down. And I'm gonna trim off, again leaving space to wrap. So you're not going to see it, doesn't matter how neat or straight that is. And I'll set those scraps aside. And we're going to come in and miter our corners here, here, and here, and here. And I'm going to use my Then we're gonna wrap it around. I'm gonna use my foam folder and glue all these pieces down. This side we've got a little bit of trimming up to do just to make that corner nice and neat. Now for in the middle there, what I'm gonna do is cut, yep, cut, and we are going to wrap up. So let's get closer to our corners. Here. This one's good because it's close enough to the corners. We're gonna fold this up and wrap it around so that we have nice clean edges around our opening. Trim off this excess piece here. And there we go. There's our nice, neat cover, except for this spot here. There we go. Now, we're going to put down our acetate piece so that he's in the window. And I'm gonna just put some glue around. Make sure I've got him lined up properly. Put a piece of white paper down so we can see how that looks. And that looks good. And I'll just trim off the excess that we've got hanging off the edges here. And I should have put it flipped the other way because this is the side that's I did the coloring on, because now I want to kind of go in and do black along there, which is not going to work. But I think I may put some kind of trim around the opening. I haven't decided on that yet. So here's our front inside, and this is the side that's going down, and I'm going to do pretty much the same thing. I think I'm going to use this paper, and I'm just trying to decide. I think I want to do it there-ish. So I'm going to go ahead and cover all of the pieces of paper, and I'll be back. Okay, so I've covered the back completely. I've covered the two sides of the front, and I'm just going to show you what I did for the back. Is I just basically sandwiched the two pieces together. So let me put some glue down, making sure I get the edges good. Pretty much stood it up so that I can make sure they're lined up nice and level. Ooh, this one's all kinds of not lined up. There we go. So there's the inside of the front and the outside of the front. Now for the spine, I've got another piece of comic book board. I actually have two pieces because I think I'm going to do a hidden spine on this one. Because since I did 2 layers of the comic book board for the cover and the back, I was worried that if I just did one piece, it wouldn't line up right. It'd be kind of all out of shape. So I'm going to set aside one piece and a piece of fabric that I cut out for doing as my spine. So that one I'm going to set aside for now. And in case I didn't say, this is 1 inch wide. Also, I'm not sure I mentioned this either. This project was inspired by my Porch Prints. They recently had a video showing like 20 different junk journal cover ideas. I'll leave a link down below to that video, and they've got stained glass printable that they used for creating their junk journal cover with the stained glass window. You could always do that instead of creating your own. I just wanted to create my own for this. So I'm going to start with my outside spine piece. And I've got a piece of fabric, and I'm going to glue it down kind of in the center near the bottom, but because I want finished edges, I'm going to leave enough to roll over on there. So let's just glue this down. And I'm using Fabri-Tac. And then I'm going to fold that piece up. And I'm going to snip there and there just to get rid of the excess. And again over here, I'm going to snip where it's folded over to my spine and go like that. This isn't going to show because what we're going to do is end up gluing this piece over it. And again, up top, I'm going to trim the extra bit off, put a little glue along here. Fold up. Again, over, trim away, over, trim away. So this way the top is all nice and clean. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my front piece and set it down, and I'm going to line up my spine and leaving a gap. I am going to glue the edge of this to the front of this. So I'm just going to run some glue down the edge of this, and I probably should have cut this piece of fabric wider. So hopefully this is going to work, because you want to leave a gap between your spine and your cover so that there's space for the book to move. Just make sure we've got it on the front here. Ugh, and I should have ironed this piece because, yeah, the wrinkle's not helping matters here. All right, let's just double check that we've got space. So we do have plenty of space. And what I'll probably do is add on the front. Oof. All right, let's add a little bit more glue and get this glued down. I'm probably going to add a little ribbon or lace down the edge of this to clean this mess up. Because, yeah, that's not the prettiest edge, although kind of like the frayed bits. So there's the front, and we're going to do basically the same thing for the back, is run a bead of glue down the very edge. Oh, sorry for bumping you. And we're going to add this piece on like so. So that is the first stage of our spine. So I'm going to leave this flat to dry. Now, the next part is going to involve, we're going to glue this down like so. But we're going to sew our signatures to it first. So I think what I may do is just attach it to the fabric. I'm going to set this piece aside. Go ahead and attach it to the fabric so I don't lose my piece of fabric. So what we're going to do is, and I'm not doing it in today's video just because I don't have the signatures all ready to go yet, is I will stitch the signatures into the spine and then glue it in place and then glue the fabric to the front and back cover, and that will be our journal. So yeah, it's a little bendy right now because it doesn't have a strip here attaching, but once we sew our signatures in and attach this piece, it will make this firmer than it currently is. Okay, so I think I figured out what I want to do to kind of trim out around our window, and I think I'm going to put down some black lace and some pearls. It's going to be very much kind of winging it, and hopefully it's going to look good. All right. I'm going to cut there for that piece. Then lay a piece going this way. Okay, I've got to figure this out. That piece has got to be a little bit longer. We'll go like that. Yeah, this is going to be fiddly trying to get the lace to look right with the hexagon. Because that's not going to work. Okay, so I think I need to cut them at an angle when I get to the curve, and then trim off the excess so that I'm essentially mitering at the curve at the corners. All right, I'm gonna grab another strip. We're gonna try again, and hopefully I have enough lace. So I think what I need to do is cut it at an angle. So essentially I'm gonna stick it in and cut at an angle, and then this piece will overlap like so, and we'll cut this at an angle, and this piece will overlap, and we're just going to leave that. All right, and let's grab another piece of lace. gonna just trim off at an angle like so. I think I've got another piece here that's long enough. Okay, so I think this is going to be a matter of putting down the first piece and having it how we want it, and then trimming up as we go around. So fingers crossed this is going to work, because if not, I'm going to be very, very sad, because it'll have ruined this. Like, it's one of those I'm like, ooh, because I think I like that. Let's put a piece of white paper behind so we can actually see our stained glass. I think I'm gonna like that if it works out neatly. So fingers crossed. We're gonna start with the first piece, and I'm gonna use Fabri-Tac, and hopefully this is gonna work. And I'm gonna put a line of Fabri-Tac down just like that, and we're gonna put this piece down like so. And I am going to go back and put more down to keep the rest of the lace down, but until we get everybody in place, and I might have to do some trimming, I figure best to leave some excess. So that piece is down. We're going to come down here and glue the next piece down. And what I'm going to do is overlap enough that I can trim that up so that it looks right. That goes there. This piece has got the angle cut already for there, so we're gonna do this. Ooh. No! Gotta be very careful, because this is an acetone based glue and will remove our inking. So didn't mess it up too bad, but I may go back in with a marker and touch that up a little bit. One good thing with Fabri-Tac is there is a little bit of wiggle room, so I can adjust to make sure everything's lined up right. Now I'm going to come in with my scissors and very gently trim these, like being very careful so as to make them match up, hopefully nicely. Then I'm going to put a dot of glue right there. I'm going to use one of my silicone spatulas to press my lace down into the dot of glue. That one needs a little bit more glue. I'm probably going to need some more gluing And then for this one, I'm gonna trim like so. So yeah, this is gonna be a bit fiddly. Oh, and now my dogs are joining in on the fun. So I may be going to get a dog here in a sec. This is what I get for not picking like an easy shape like a square and going with a hexagon. I have a feeling maybe going back in with some like small pieces and just going like that to cover up spots that aren't quite as neat as I would like. That actually works, and there's enough glue there that it's stuck down. So yeah, we're gonna do some patchwork probably. Okay, not horrible given the fiddly nature of what I was doing. Definitely gonna put some patches in a few spots. So I've got some extra of the lace. Let's find some spots that need patching, like there. Could use a little patch. Didn't quite get my corners all lined up perfectly, but that's all right. It's a junk journal. It's not supposed to be perfect. All right, I'm actually pretty happy with that. That came out pretty darn good. And now I'm just gonna add the pearl trim on top. And I'm just gonna kind of go around, glue a section down, snip, glue. This one will be a little bit easier than the lace. So there we go. And I am going to do something similar along the back. I'm just going to, instead of using the lace and the trim and all that, since it's the back, I think I'm just going to take some black satin ribbon and go ahead and run it around just like I did, just to trim out the edge here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that off camera, and I'll be back and I'll show you how it looks. So I've attached strips all around, and I left overhang on both sides. And what I'm just doing is coming in on like the angle and trimming both pieces to get a mitered corner. So and then whoop, piece underneath. That one did not go as nicely. Like, that came out perfect. Don't know what the heck happened over here. May just trim a little more of that off here in a sec. And I will, let's put this over top because that's fraying, glue this all down. Especially with like the satin ribbons tend to fray at the ends like it's doing over here. So you definitely want to make sure you glue down your corners well if you're doing something like this. Decided to go on camera because the first one worked out so nicely that I figured I'll show them how I did this. And then of course the subsequent ones are not working as nicely as the first because, you know, that's how it goes. Oh yeah, that's like way out in left field over here. All right, we're just gonna do a little surgery, trim that off a little bit. That looks much better. Let's do a little surgery over here. Underpiece needs a little trimming. There we go. All right, now I'm just gonna go around and glue all those corners down. All right, so there is our back stained glass window. There is our front stained glass window. And that's all we're gonna do on this cover today. I will probably film the sewing into the signature just since we're doing a hidden spine so that I can show you how this is gonna work when we put the signature in. So that'll be in another video. And don't forget that if you want this pattern for your own journal, go to my Ko-fi shop, that's Ko-fi, and it's Craft Nerd Creates. There's a link in the description. And you can download this pattern, and I'll also put this one in as well if you want either of those for making your own stained glass junk journal cover. They'll be available for free on my Ko-fi site. So that's all for today. If you enjoyed this video, please do all the things that lets YouTube know you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave me a comment down below. Thanks for joining me, and happy crafting.